Hello friends, welcome back to Block On.
First, we have to understand the anatomical lines through the sternum or the midline, then mid-clavicular line, midpoint of the clavicle, then axillary fold, that will be anterior axillary line, through the anterior axillary fold. In between anterior and the posterior axillary lines, that is the mid-axillary line and posterior axillary line. Then through the angle of scapula is scapular line, and then again midline. All the blocks we will discuss, especially in the chest wall blocks, these lines are very, very important. Now, when we are scanning for the abdominal wall blocks, we will stand on one side of the patient. The ultrasound machine will be the opposite side. First, we'll keep the probe in the midline, in between the Giffy-sternum and the umbilicus. So what you are seeing is the Spider-Man goggles. So here is one eye and here is one side. Okay. In between, what structure we are seeing? Very good. So next, you can move on to one side. So what you are seeing is the rectus abdominis muscle. Can you able to appreciate the two lines or tram track appearance? Okay. So that is the posterior rectus sheath. Above the umbilicus, we have a good posterior rectus sheath, but below it, you will not have a posterior rectus sheath. So below the arcuate line. See, this is just below the umbilicus. Still you can appreciate the double line. Okay. This is a bowel movement, peristaltic movement. You can see nicely. Then if I go down around from umbilicus to symphysis pubis, if we divide it into upper third and lower two third, so in that area, from that area, you will not have a posterior rectus sheath. The double line you will not see. Okay. So rectus sheath block, when we, can you see the blood vessel I just saw? Okay. Here. Can you see it? Which vessel? Yes, very good. Inferior epigastric vessels. So superior epigastric vessels also we may find. I'm not going to waste time in searching of vessel, just we'll have a sweep. You'll get little bit above. Okay. So anyway, you know the rectus sheath plexus is lying between the rectus muscle and the posterior rectus sheath. So nerves are coming from the lateral wall and then they are entering into the tap plane and forming the tap plexus first. Then again from that plexus branches are coming out and then again entering into the rectus sheath plane and forming the rectus sheath plexus. From that plexus the cutaneous nerves are coming out and ultimately supplying the skin. Okay, skin subcutaneous tissue. So this is the usual course of the nerve. So there is, it's not like a unsegmented or single nerve is supplying. Those dermatomes you have seen, those are not correct. So whenever we are blocking the plexus and the bunch of nerves. So where we will deposit the drug? We will deposit the drug in between the muscle and the posterior rectus sheath. This among two lines, the upper line and the muscle. Okay. So if we do it lower guided technique, so there will be first bounce, then pop, then bounce. So here we will stop and deposit the drug. One disadvantage with the abdominal wall block especially is when we are doing a plexus block or nerve blocks, we are having fixed anatomical landmarks like bone, like artery. Okay. Even in chest wall blocks also you have thoracic cage. But here we have to depend on mainly muscles and the fascial planes. Okay, we are not, most of the cases we are not directly seeing the nerves. So correct plane identification is very, very important for that. If I move on laterally, so this was a midline we have seen. The moving structure, shiny structure is the peritoneum. Okay. So this is this hypoechoic space you are seeing, that is the pre-peritoneal space. So now if we move on laterally, can you see one more muscle is coming in the picture? What is that muscle? Okay, very good. I am moving away further laterally. So can you see three layers of muscle we are seeing now? So what are those? This is the linea semilunaris, and beyond that you are seeing the three layers of muscle. Okay, external oblique, internal oblique and the transversus abdominis. When you are seeing the three layers of muscle, it is always better to count them from below upwards. Okay. We are seeing the transversalis fascia here, and below that you can see this serrated appearance, wavy appearance, that is the peritoneum moving. Okay. And above that, first muscle is the transversus abdominis muscle. Above that, the thicker one is the internal oblique muscle. Above that, the upper one is the external oblique muscle. Because in obese patient, there will be 2-3 layers of fat. So you will get confused while counting the muscles. So it is always advised to count it from the below. Okay. So where we will perform the subcostal TAP block? In which plane? No, that is wrong. Now, just now I have shared, everybody open that Delphi consensus of the abdominal or the truncal blocks. So according to the new terminology, we will perform between the internal oblique and the transversus abdominis, internal oblique fascia and the transversus abdominis muscle. So wherever in the body you are performing TAP block, make sure that you are performing between the internal oblique fascia and the transversus abdominis muscle. Okay, so we will perform here. T6 to T9, they are entering the TAP plane almost near the anterior axillary line. So posterior, if we go to mid-axillary line TAP block, we may miss all those nerves. When you are giving the subcostal TAP block, you are going more posteriorly. So more anteriorly, when we are doing rectus sheath block, we are losing those lateral cutaneous branches. We are blocking anterior cutaneous now. So that's why the more you go posteriorly, the more chances of involving more spinal nerves. So that is why when you are doing subcostal TAP block, instead of doing it at the rectus muscle and the which was originally described, now we are doing it little laterally so that it may involve with more nerves. Open up that Delphi consensus, we'll follow one by one. First we will target all the common blocks of the abdominal wall, and then we will see what's new here. So we will perform the subcostal TAP block here. Subcostal means below the costal margin and at this level. Understood everyone? This much clear? Now according to the Delphi consensus, we have two TAP blocks. One is subcostal TAP block, another is the lateral TAP block or the mid-axillary TAP block. Mid-axillary means we are performing at the mid-axillary line. That's all. We will keep the probe between the costal margin and the iliac crest at the level of mid-axillary line. Understood? So everybody just check the Delphi consensus and see whether I am doing it correctly. I have placed the probe between the iliac crest and the costal margin, in between, almost midway between the two, and at the level of mid-axillary line. Understood? So what we are seeing here, again from below upwards we will see, this is the thinnest muscle, that is transverse abdominis muscle. Then we have internal oblique. Then we have the external oblique muscle. You can see the thickest one is the internal oblique. So where will be the plane? So this is the plane where we will inject. Now can you see here the double lining of the internal oblique fascia? So the next question is where we shall deposit the drug. We have 3 points. One is here we can deposit. One is we can pierce and deposit here. Third one is we can pierce and deposit here. Can anybody answer that? Your second one. Anyone? Second one. Anyone? Both the answers are wrong. We have to pierce the internal oblique fascia completely and go towards the muscle. So in between the transversus abdominis muscle and the internal oblique fascia, that is the neurovascular plane. One good study is there by Barrington, cadaveric study. So in that plane, below the fascia, not in between the two layers or not above the fascia, below the fascia there lies the neurovascular plane, TAP plane. Okay. So when you place your needle tip in that plane and deposit the drug, so there is more chances of getting a good block. Fascial plane blocks, when we are doing, you always keep in mind you don't have any control over the effect. It varies from person to person. So in some patients it might be from T6 to T12 spread. In some patient it might be only T6, T7 spread with same amount of drug. So that is why you don't have any control over the spread in fascial pain blocks, especially the abdominal wall blocks. So we always use multimodal analgesia to cover, to give complete analgesia. Okay, so this was your mid-axillary TAP block. Everybody understood?
Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video. Until then, keep blocking, keep rocking.